Hmm?
Was there a breakdown in communication?
Okay.
Getting to the root cause
Right.
is absolutely crucial.
Because if you just address the symptom,
Right.
the problem's just going to keep
It'll keep coming back.
coming back.
Yeah.
Okay, and UK Food Technology Service can help with this too, right?
They can. They have a lot of experience
Okay.
in helping companies analyze their systems,
Okay.
identify those root causes, and develop corrective actions that are effective and sustainable.
So they're not just telling you what to do.
Right.
They're helping you understand why. it's burning. And they're helping you make sure that the solution is going to last.
It's not just a Band-Aid.
It's not just a Band-Aid.
Yeah. Okay. And the guide also stresses the importance of involving the right people. Involving the right people.
In this process.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the people who are actually doing the work on the ground, they often have the best insights into the root causes and the potential solutions.
It's about tapping into that knowledge.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've identified the root cause.
Right.
You've brainstormed some solutions. Now what?
Documentation.
Documentation.
Yes, you need to have a clear paper trail outlining the steps you're taking to address each nonconformity.
So it's not enough to just fix the problem.
Right.
You have to prove.
You have to document it.
You've documented it.
Yeah.
Okay, so transparency is key.
Transparency is key.
Okay, now another critical aspect of this
is verification.
Verification.
Did we talk about that before?
Yeah, I think we did.
Yeah.
In a different context, though.
In a different context.
Yeah.
But verification also applies to corrective actions.
Okay.
It's about making sure that the actions you've taken have actually been effective.
So not just that you've done something.
Right.
But that it worked.
That it worked.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this might involve
follow-up inspections.
Okay.
Reviewing records. Maybe even conducting some additional tests.
Okay.
Just to confirm that the problem has been resolved.
So the closed loop.
It is identify the problem.
Right.
Develop a solution.
Implement the solution.
Implement it.
And then verify
that it worked.
That it worked.
And this is at the heart.
This is at the heart of BRCGS.
Of BRCGS.
It's all about continuous improvement.
Now, the document also mentions something called
corrective action trends?
Corrective action trends.
This is where it gets really interesting.
Okay, tell me more.
Okay, so this is about taking a step back and looking at the bigger picture.
Okay.
Analyzing the patterns.
Okay.
In your corrective actions over time.
So instead of viewing each one in isolation,
you're looking for themes.
You're looking for trends.
Yeah.
You're looking for areas where you're consistently struggling.
Okay.
And this is where having a good consultant can be so valuable.
Because they can spot those patterns.
They can help you analyze those trends.
Yeah.
Identify any systemic weaknesses.
In your system?
In your food safety management system.
So they're not just helping you fix individual problems.
They're helping you make your whole system stronger.
Yeah. So it's all about the data, right?
It's all about the data.
So you have to track.
You have to track.
Your corrective actions.
And that allows you to see where your vulnerabilities lie.
So, for example, if you're constantly having to take corrective action.
Right.
For things related to employee training.
Exactly.
Maybe you need to revamp your training program.
Maybe you need to invest in some better training materials.
Okay. Or if you're repeatedly having issues.
Right.
With a specific piece of equipment.
Right.
Maybe it's time to upgrade or replace it.
That's a great point.
Okay, so it's about using that data.
It's all about data-driven decisions.
To make your system better.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
From audit grades and durations.
Right.
To the importance of corrective actions.
Yeah.
And identifying those trends.
We've really gotten into the nuts and bolts.
Yeah.
Of BRCGS.
But there's still one more.
There's
aspect of BRCGS.
That we need to explore.
Okay.
And that is the evolution of the standard itself.
Oh, yeah. It's not just like a static document.
It's not. It's constantly changing and adapting.
Okay.
To the evolving world of food safety.
I can't wait to hear more about that.
Okay.
Okay, so let's talk about the evolution of the BRCGS standard.
Yeah.
It's pretty fascinating to see how it's grown and changed over the years.
It has come a long way.
Yeah, like watching a plant sprout from a seed and blossom.
I love that analogy.
Into something amazing.
Yeah, and it's so true. The BRCGS standard has come a long way. Since it was first introduced back in 1998.
Way back.
Way back when. And back then it was really primarily focused on British retail stores.
So it was very UK-centric.
It was very UK-centric, but it quickly gained recognition for its rigor and practicality.
Yeah.
And it wasn't long before it started spreading its wings internationally.
Okay, so how has the standard actually changed over the years?
Well, one of the biggest shifts has been the increasing emphasis on food fraud prevention.
Food fraud?
Food fraud.
What is that?
So essentially, it's about the deliberate substitution, addition, tampering, or misrepresentation of food, ingredients, or packaging for economic gain.
So it's basically like intentionally misleading consumers for profit.
Exactly.
Wow. So like what kind of things are we talking about here?
Okay, so think about things like olive oil that's been diluted with cheaper oils.
Okay.
Honey that's been adulterated with sugar syrups.
Oh, wow.
Or even seafood that's been mislabeled with cheaper species.
So you think you're getting the good stuff.
And you're not.
But you're really getting ripped off.
Yeah.
That's kind of scary.
It is concerning.
Yeah, it makes you wonder what you can actually trust.
It does, and that's why BRCGS has really stepped up its game by incorporating these measures to prevent and detect food fraud.
So how does the standard actually address this?
So one key addition is the requirement for companies to conduct vulnerability assessments.
Vulnerability assessments.
Yeah, so it's all about systematically analyzing your operations to identify potential weak spots. Where someone might try to slip in something that shouldn't be there.
So it's kind of like a security check.
It is like a security check.
For your whole supply chain.
For your entire food supply chain.
I got to think like a criminal.
You have to think like a criminal. Figure out how someone might try to exploit your system.
I bet that's a pretty eye-opening exercise.
It can be. And once you've identified those vulnerabilities, then you can start implementing specific controls to minimize those risks.
It's all about being proactive.
It is all about being proactive.
Staying one step ahead.
Staying ahead of those potential fraudsters.
Okay. And then alongside the fraud prevention, we've also seen a big push for
traceability.
Yeah,
we touched on this earlier when we were talking about audits. But the standard has really upped the ante when it comes to tracking products from farm to fork.
So it's gotten stricter.
It has gotten much stricter. Companies now need to have really robust systems in place to trace products backwards and forwards through the entire supply chain.
So no more just having a system on paper.
It's got to work in practice.
You got to actually...
You got to prove it.
Prove it.
Yeah.
Okay, so they've got to test these systems regularly.
They do. This might involve mock recalls. Where you simulate a real-world recall scenario.
Oh, wow.
And you make sure that you can swiftly and accurately track and retrieve products.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, so it's all about preparation.
Yeah.
Being ready for that worst-case scenario.
And that's good for consumers, right?
It is. It gives consumers peace of mind.
Knowing
that companies are prepared.
The companies are taking this seriously.
Yes.
Now it's not just about responding to problems. This emphasis on traceability can also help prevent them.
It can, because if you have a really clear understanding of where your ingredients are coming from and where your products are going, you're in a much better position to identify potential risks and put preventative measures in place.
So it's about transparency.
It's all about transparency and accountability at every step.
And it's about having that information so that if something does go wrong, you can react quickly.
You can act quickly.
But also just avoid those problems.
Hopefully avoid them altogether.
In the first place.
Yes.
Okay, now remember those unannounced audits we were talking about?
Yeah.
These that keep everyone on their toes.
Those are a big part of the BRCGS evolution, too.
Yeah. I remember you saying that even if a company chooses announced audits, they still have to have at least one unannounced every 3 years.
At least one every 3 years.
And this shift towards unannounced audits is partly driven by
the Global Food Safety Initiative.
The GFSI.
GFSI rings a bell.
So GFSI is a really big player in the food safety world. They're working to benchmark and harmonize food safety standards on a global level.
And BRCGS is recognized by GFSI.
It is.
And
that recognition is really valuable because it means that BRCGS, the certification, meets those globally recognized standards. So it's a really powerful credential in the international marketplace.
So it's like a passport.
It is like a passport.
Opens doors all over the world.
It opens doors in the global food trade.
And this has helped with the adoption
of BRCGS.
It's a big reason why BRCGS has been so widely adopted.
Which in turn has helped raise the bar
for
food safety.
It's had a ripple effect across the entire food industry.
Okay, so the evolution of BRCGS has been shaped by a lot of different forces.
It has.
You know, we've got industry best practices. emerging risks, technological advances.
Absolutely.
And the influence of these global organizations like GFSI.
It's a dynamic process, and it's ongoing.
So even if you're already BRCGS certified, you can't just rest on your laurels.
No, you got to stay up to date.
You got to stay up to date.
And be ready to adapt.
And that's where a partner like UK Food Technology Service comes in.
That's where they come in. They help companies stay ahead of the curve, anticipate those changes, make sure their systems are ready to meet those evolving demands.
It's like having a food safety crystal ball.
It is a little bit like that.
Okay, well, this has been a really fascinating deep dive.
I agree.
Into the world of BRCGS.
It's been fun.
You know, we've covered so much. From the history and evolution of the standard to the, the nitty-gritty of the audits.
The audits, the grades.
The grades, the corrective actions.
Corrective actions.
The emerging technology.
The future of food safety.
It's been a really incredible journey.
It has been.
And we hope that for everyone listening,
this
deep dive has given you a really solid understanding
of what BRCGS is all about.
Of BRCGS, its importance.
Why it matters.
And how it plays a role in keeping our food safe.
It's a big deal.
But remember, this is just the beginning.
This is just the beginning of your food safety journey.
Yeah.
Food safety is a continuous journey of learning, adapting, and improving.
And with BRCGS as your guide,
you can confidently navigate the food industry.
Yeah.
Contribute to a safer and more sustainable future for everyone.
I love that.
Me too.